In this video, we will see how to renew our Apple developer certificates. This obviously concerns iOS and macOS when developing from Delphi or other traditional development environments, but also tvOS and Safari, and so on. So the first thing to do is to take a little tour of your account on developer.apple.com and see where we stand. So obviously you need to log in. For me, it's already done. This is the developer space version of their site. It changes quite regularly. So don't get stuck on the presentation. There will inevitably be an App Store Connect section where the applications are declared, and a section for certificates, identifiers, and provisioning profiles. Regarding the certificates, I currently have only 2 certificates still valid. All the others have been removed because they expired. By the way, it's quite surprising that they don't display them. They must have automated the cleanup now, which wasn't the case before. Except that the 2 certificates in question, today is January 7th, 2023, so the other 2 are expiring in a few days, so I will remove and renew them myself. Once we have dealt with the certificates, we will then need to move on to the provisioning profiles, as this is where the applications are linked, and the developers who are authorized to make updates related to them, so it will be a mandatory step to go through. For the renewal, since I already have a version of Xcode configured on my account, I will go through that rather than starting everything from scratch, as is the case during the initial setup. So I launch the latest version of Xcode available. I go into the preferences, which apparently is installed in English, so settings, in the Xcode application. And so I have my developer account. Eventually it asks you for the user password, rather the password. And in Manage Certificate, we find the expired or non-expired certificates present on the computer we are on. Then we will do some cleaning, of course. So, on this certificate here. Finally, on this app here, I will regenerate all the certificates, so applications, development. The advantage is that it does what's necessary on Apple's side directly. Next, we will do distribution. Mac installer, developer ID, application, and installer as well. So obviously I end up with several copies of the certificates that were already installed and possibly expired. We will clean them up, so that's good for that. I can exit this part, certificate. Normally if I go back to Apple and reload the certificate page, I should find myself with the new ones. I will remove the 2 old ones I had left, the developer ID application and the developer ID installer. This is for ad hoc manual deployment for macOS projects which were expiring in a few days. I will remove them directly, or maybe not since it doesn't want to offer us the option. There is no more revocation. So if there is no more revocation, it's not a big deal. We'll leave it as it is. It will expire on its own. I regenerated the certificates. I will go into my profiles and go through them one by one. Update the things, so some are marked as expired when their certificate has expired, others are not yet. And then others should be marked as expired, but they are not. Like expiration 12/24/2022. We are in 2023. It should have been removed too, but it's not a big deal. Anyway, we need to go through everything again to add the developer account associated with each provisioning profile, since that's what allows the devices behind to make the changes, in any case, to accept or not the applications. So here I go to edit on each profile. I, obviously, leave the name, I leave the associated application, and I check the certificate or certificates that are supposed to be used on that profile. I save and do it for all of them. So I don't download, we'll let Xcode handle it. So this one is good, I move on to the next. Normally, of course, it changes the expiration date for all. Here it says there was still a certificate, because in fact it still has the old one. Yes, that's why it was in direct distribution, as I had kept the other one. They are not yet revoked, so they are active. So here I just put the new one, because I'm going to remove the old one from my computer. I save. There you go, and we do this for all of them. I'm not going to show you, I'll do it on my side for mine. There you go. So we do what's necessary. Then, once we're done, we go back to Xcode on our computer, and we have a download manual option, profiles. Normally this operation will retrieve all the profile updates and install them on the computer. it will clean up what's necessary on the workstation. Now, there's something else we need to do. It's that in the keychain, so in applications, utility, keychain in the middle, well, where is it? Keychain access. It's the recent version of macOS Ventura. In the sessions, my certificates, we have all the certificates installed on the computer. The new ones we just created with Xcode on January 7th. And the old ones, February 7th or 1st. Oh yes, it's not true. We don't do them. On January 7, 2027, we have the new ones and the expired old ones. With a red box, or the old ones not expired, obviously, since the two I renewed, forced, they are still there. So we are actually going to delete them. The advantage is that when we are on an old certificate, the new one, so here, if I go to third-party Mac developer, it will normally have installer, it will have the same name. So if you have configured it with its name somewhere in another software, for example in Delphi, you won't have to change anything on the development environment side. However, obviously if you leave both, it won't be the case to use, because behind in the chain, the compilation chain, which uses the command line tools of Xcode, will go and choose one. Regarding the name, it will find both, so it won't know which one to assign, even if it finds one expired and not the other. So this one, I will right-click on it. Normally, I can delete the certificate. And I confirm the deletion, so obviously we only delete those that are expired or that should no longer be on the machine. There you go. There you go. And so there were the two that expire in a few days, which I also remove since I have forced them to renew. It's done. So I now have a third-party Mac and developer, which is required when going to the Mac App Store, direct distribution, and the distribution, iOS, and others, since now we only have one certificate for everything, and direct deployment. When we make applications that we distribute ourselves for Mac, since they are supposed to be signed, so this step is done. Normally, our build chain should work, regardless of the tool we use. Obviously, tests need to be conducted, and on the Xcode side, we can double check that in the certificates. Here, only the new ones have a future expiration. So there, I removed the two that are not yet expired. So there, it marks them as unavailable for me. And the new one that I generated earlier. So now I should normally be able to work. So the next step is to go through all the provisioning profiles on Apple's site to make the updates, and then re-download everything. Of course, if you have multiple computers using the same development account, don't perform the operation on each one, because otherwise it will multiply the number of certificates and nothing will work anymore. So go through the export here. You export from the machine on which you are performing the operation, and you re-import on all the other machines using the same developer account that need to use these certificates, and you perform the operation in the keychain to delete those that have no reason to be there. This way you'll be at ease, and it will prevent any mix-ups between the different devices. That's it for this little annual procedure, or to do when you start development for Apple.